We've got an exciting candidate here. The question is, this is a guy who actually is a controller for a company that makes manufacturing in the Rust Belt. That's about as businessy can get. So the question is that going to be enough, along with his great 760 GMAT and 3.5 from a very unknown college, to wit, Trinity International University in Deerfield, Illinois. So you got a 3.5 from Trinity College in Deerfield, Illinois, a 760 BOP GMAT, and a job, 5 years of working experience at a Rust Belt manufacturing company. So here he is, David Cantwell. David, can you hello there, welcome aboard. Can you tell us what a controller does?
Sure. So I'm in charge of accounting and finance for this division of a larger manufacturing company. So we have 2 plants here in Michigan. And
wow.
As far as accounting, that concerns all the month-end close and kind of all that number crunching. But what I really like about the company—
Well, okay, that's what I thought you did. Yeah, but you made claims here that you've saved the company like $1 million. How do you do that?
Right. So when I started a year ago, things were not good. Sales had dropped about 20% in the past 3 years, not for our company as a whole, but just for this division. There was a lack of focus on cost cutting and things like that. And together with the plant manager and a few other key people, we focused on growing sales and cutting costs. And the combination of that—
Let me interrupt. Has anyone from your function ever applied to business school, broadly defined? Your function and business school.
Let's see, not my function at this company, but other people at the company have, yes. Our former president had an MBA from Kellogg.
No, I want people who worked at your company and then applied to business school.
Right, yeah, and he would fit that description, but otherwise, no, not a lot, Sandy.
Okay. That's neither here nor there. It just means you got some explaining to do, as they used to say.
And we should point out his target schools are pretty high up there. They include Tuck, Harvard, Stanford, Wharton, and Kellogg.
Yeah, let me cut to the chase. You got a lot going for you. You're the kind of guy every business school would like to admit, because you've actually worked in a business that manufactures stuff.
And he has some good results as part of the senior leadership.
And you've made a case. You've got some good results. That's nice. It's not as nice as a 760. I think I think Kellogg, man, you're in their wheelhouse. And I think, Buck, you're their kind of guy. You come from the Midwest. They view them, believe it or not, they have a Midwest outlook there. So I think your chances at Kellogg are very, very good. At Puck, they're good. Wharton would like you. So your chances at Wharton would like you for the same reason everybody else likes you. 760 GMAT, you're really working, you're a controller. You know more about business than most of your classmates will. So the question is Harvard and Stanford. You got a lot of extras, but I don't think there's any stardust here. That is to say, overcoming adversity, whatever. So Stanford could be hard. They're very small.
Let's identify his extras.
Sure.
For the audience. Go ahead.
Hey, David, tell us your
David,
extras.
you tell us.
So by extras, you mean things that make me stand out?
Well, extracurriculars.
No, extracurricular activities.
Extracurriculars, okay. So I did quite a bit in college. One theme that was both during college and then after I graduated was working with refugees in the inner city of Chicago, people from all different parts of the world, Middle East, Asia. They're brand new in the United States, didn't speak English very well, weren't comfortable living here, and kind of befriending them.
Okay, we're going to call that a gold star in the Stanford worldview.
Absolutely, that rings the bell at Stanford.
Well, it rings the bell as a genre. How active were you? What's the case you could make about that?
Visiting a family every week for 6 to 8 months.
Yeah, so you could turn that into a what matters essay.
and then a different family for 6 to 8 months after college.
David,
Yeah.
why did you do that?
I wanted to get to know people and help them. I mean, these were people, you know, they had really difficult experiences.
Let me cut. We don't care why he did it. It's great he did it. I'm serious. I want to get to important stuff. It's a great item. He did it. He can talk about it. That's good. With your manufacturing background, that's such a positive. Why do you say your goal is to be a brand manager at a CPG company, which I believe is CPG? Here, Go John. What does that stand for? CPG.
Consumer packaged goods. We're
Yeah.
talking Pepsi, Coca-Cola, General Mills, Procter & Gamble, those kind of companies.
Well, I like all those products, but business schools like Rust Belt manufacturing more because they got a lot of CPG. Why are you saying that's your goal, David?
I like CPG because it merges both the consumer-facing company, right? Like we sell to other businesses. We don't sell directly to consumers.
Yeah, that's called B2B. That's a good point.
But they also make their own stuff. I mean, these are manufacturing companies. And a lot of it's in the United States. And so there's an opportunity for me to be hands-on and use my manufacturing experience, get an MBA, get that marketing knowledge, you know, especially a place like Kellogg is tops in that, combine those.
Okay. You're convincing me.
Okay, but is that a liability? Is that a liability in his application? Because, you know, I think a major appeal of his candidacy is the fact that he does work for a Rust Belt manufacturer. There are few candidates who do. He has a great GMAT. He has a record of achievement there. To say now he wants to transition out into a more mainstream MBA job that a lot of other MBAs want, is that
what I liked about his explanation is how he's going to use the two experiences. The business school is still going to have him as an active class member with the manufacturing experience, okay?
That's true, which is an important part to mention somehow.
That's the way they look at it.
In your essays.
Yeah, just don't be anti-Rust Belt, anti-manufacturing.
That's what I like.
Yeah, build out. You want to build out that experience. That's a way of saying I want more, but I'm not rejecting my immigrant family here. Okay, I'm not one of those people who's going to go Hollywood. I'm going to always have my manufacturing background. Good.
Okay.
And let me just toss in the fact that, you know, again, that Stanford is very eager to have candidates from the Midwest because they have very little exposure there. And they are especially eager to have students who want to go back to the Midwest and make a difference. They have a new fellowship where they give a total free ride to Midwestern candidates.
Good point.
And
John knows this stuff. That's why you're here, John.
In the first year of that program, their applications from the Midwest went up 25%.
Holy moly.
Yeah.
It's working.
Yeah. That's a proof. Yeah.
So you want to work
Business
that
School
angle.
101. How to get more people to apply. Pay them.
I do want to return to the Midwest.
Yeah.
Good. That's a good one. Okay, let's see if we can get you into Stanford. What would you write about in this essay? What matters most?
So I've already written a draft. I'm planning on applying to round one. And it's about a few years ago, I got in a car accident and almost died, totaled my car. I was on a freeway in Texas, went from the left side horizontally across the freeway and hit the barrier on the right side. And amazingly, you know, nobody hit me as I was going across. So far, your score at Stanford is 0, but I'm glad you survived.
So don't you want to tell us, don't you want to bring us into the living room that you visited with a refugee family and talk about
let's hear the essay you wrote. Let's hear the essay you wrote.
My family, extended family, was there to help me out. And so I build that into talking about how my family matters to me and what they've taught me, how that's going to apply to the classroom.
Okay, they don't care about applying to the classroom. They care about your personal growth. Family's a good thing to write about. Man, here's some tough love, kiddo. I'd make that one story about things what matters to me is, the answer is always at Stanford. What matters to me is personal development and learning, from others, etc. And it helps if you can have PC topics in your essay, an automobile accident is not a, by PC I mean politically correct or overcoming adversity. Yeah, an automobile accident is a little bit of that. It's dramatic. Sure, it happened to you. And if your family took care of you, yeah, by all means, write about it. If you can leverage the refugee story as another story, tell them that being in the accident helped you understand refugees, okay?
Yeah, connect the two.
Right.
There you were lost and abandoned after a scary event, and it's
No, it helped you understand.
same feeling.
Yeah.
It helped you understand what being, you know, extreme situation. It helped you understand duress. It helped you understand being, you know, it got you out of the bubble of your middle-class Midwestern Rust Belt life.
David splits on a 760 GMAT, 42 verbal, 50 quant. Any comments, Andy?
Yeah, was there some concern about the quant being, what's the percent on that?
88th percentile, so it's not tops.
No,
but
the quant.
Right, the quant is 88th percentile.
Yeah, don't take it again. They'll swallow that. Boy, the EdComs swallow a lot of things covered in a 760. You have no idea. You could walk your pet with a baggie that says 760 and send that baggie into the Stanford EdCom. They would swallow it.
David, I'm assuming that your undergraduate degree was in accounting. Is that correct?
That's right.
Okay. You know, I think just looking at this, and I think Sandy would agree, that the only red flag is that you graduated from an undergraduate school that is not known and is not highly selective.
Yeah, it's not. What's the explanation of that?
Right?
What's the explanation of that?
I wanted a school with small class sizes, a lot of discussion where I could get to know the professors. And one of my favorite professors who's recommending me to a couple of schools, I developed a really strong relationship with him, got a lot of mentoring type experience.
You're wondering, you didn't know the professor before you applied. And
right, but I knew that
all classes, that sounds like Yale. Isn't the explanation, you know, where'd you go to high school?
I was homeschooled.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Is this news to us?
I haven't mentioned it anywhere, so
yeah,
I haven't thought about it. Is that something that I could use?
I'm glad, you know, I'm glad we don't rush through these things, John. This is where taking time. Yeah, being homeschooled is real important. It also explains why you went to that school, because you weren't caught up in the school, in the collegiate fever swamp, okay? You were homeschooled, and then I take it this college was near your home?
Yeah, I lived at school. I didn't live at home, but it was close.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
Too.
That's the explanation. It's a matter of upbringing and logistics rather than some generic phony idea about it.
Yeah, because what you don't want them to think is that you weren't an achiever and you could only get into this school. You want to give a really good, credible answer to why you went there.
And is this something for an optional essay, short paragraph about it?
No, it's something that should be in your Stanford essay for sure. It's a key part of your story, man.
Okay.
I mean, that's my advice. You know, like what matters to me is learning and learning in different ways. And I had a homeschool experience that was, you know, incredibly valuable and unusual. And I got to appreciate it. And then you talk about it. You talk about what that was like. Were your parents schooling you?
Yeah, my mother.
Yeah. So, you know, what it was like having your man. One can hardly imagine what that's like. Okay. What's your mother's background?
She was a teacher where she started.
Okay. Great. Okay.
This is all an important point because you're applying to very elitist institutions.
But they go for this jive, man.
You know what
You're the real deal.
Yeah, you know what it means, Sandy. Going to an elite undergrad school is important to them, sadly. So it's important for you to explain this.
Yeah, but so is. Let me tell you who you are. You're what they call. You're a variant of something called a white ethnic, which is the classic white ethnic is a white guy who comes from a lower middle class background and whose parents didn't go to college. That's not the case with you. But you're a variant of that. You're a white oddball. Just odd, not oddball. I take that back. You're a white guy with a very unusual background. So it gets you out.
Which is really good.
It gets you out of the white category into
Pile.
Into the diversity. It gets you into the diversity pile, right?
No, it's really valuable to you.
What can I highlight for HBS?
What can you write for HBS?
Highlight, not necessarily write, but just in my application.
I'd like to tell you. I'd like to tell you where I come from and what my goals are. I was homeschooled. I went to a small school, and I worked for for the past 5 years. I've been doing controller work, but really that's controller who wears a lot of hats work for a Rust Belt manufacturing company. And based on those things, my goals are this and that. And then you just elaborate on what the influences were. And, ding dong, the essay's dead. Okay?
Okay, this is worth pointing out here and underlining because David's inclination for a GSB was to write about a dramatic event in his life and let that compel the reader into the essay. You don't have to do that. If you read some of the Harvard Business School essays out there, you'll find that just practical, straight on, forward essay will probably do a better job than trying to do some tricky intro.
In your case, the Harvard question is, what else do you want us to know about you? You don't have to. You don't have to do BS, man. You actually have things that are important and significant that you do want them to know about you, including the fact you've been homeschooled,
which a lot of applicants don't have, and then they need to
what that experience is like, and what it's like working for us. The essay is perfect for you. The prompt is perfect for you. That's what I would write.
How many times did you take the GMAT to get the 760?
Well, so I took it once right out of college when I was thinking about taking my career somewhere else, not thinking about MBA. And then recently I only took it once since then.
Wow, that's really good. Okay, so let's go for the odds. Sandy, Harvard odds. What do you say they are?
If he can get his package together and execute serviceably, okay, not brilliantly, just serviceably, it's a favorite word of mine, along the lines we've talked about, I think his odds at Harvard are, like 35%. He's what they're looking for. He's a version of what they're looking for.
And Stanford, eager to get those Midwestern types.
Yeah, 25%. It's not a crazy long shot. They would take someone like you. Stanford, the execution counts a little more.
Wharton?
Same thing. It's just Wharton, basically would be attracted to the same things. They've got a wider door. That's all. So
yeah,
the odds go up, and that's true. And this is a perfect profile for Tuck and Kellogg, man. Kellogg, you really are in their wheelhouse, man. They've got a obligation to manufacturing in the Midwest.
So what, 40 to 50% for Kellogg and Tuck?
And then consumer product goods. I mean, that's Kellogg. That's a consumer product. Aren't they a consumer product good?
Oh,
don't they make cornflakes?
They're number one for that, yeah.
Yeah, right.
So 40 to 50% at Kellogg?
Yeah.
And Tuck?
Yeah, well,
all right.
Maybe a little less at Tuck, but.
Yeah, because it's a smaller class.
You're a candidate with a lot going for you.
Do you have any other last questions for Sandy?
Comptroller?
No, thank you.
I think you're in good shape. Just make sure you get people to read what you're going to submit before you submit it and go over it.
Right, definitely.
Okay, nice meeting you and good luck.
Thanks, Sandy.
Yeah, and if you're if you want to come to Chicago, we have a big event in Chicago in September. Where
we'll get you on
all
stage.
The top schools will be, including Kellogg and Chicago booth and others. Come on down. We're happy to see you at the Navy Piers there. Okay?
That's good.
And Sandy, thank you again for Fridays with Sandy. This is John Byrne of Poets&Quants. Thanks for watching.